First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me this afternoon for this brief information session. I'll just go through a couple of slides here, have a couple of short videos, and then we'll do question period right at the end. So welcome to Career City College, and we hope that you are excited to start next week. So I'll start off by telling you a little bit about who I am and what my role here is at Career City College. I'm one of the financial aid officers. I will be your point of contact during your studies for any student aid related issues. I am responsible for completing confirmation of enrollments, and we'll check in just before you graduate, just go over the whole loan repayment process, see if you have any questions or concerns. This next slide here just kind of outlines the difference between loans and grants and things you need to know about each of them. And when it comes to a loan versus a grant, what's the difference? So a loan is more money that you borrow and must pay back with interest after school, depending on the province that you're in. There are some provinces that are interest-free, but it again depends on the province that you're in. Grants are free money and they're based on need. It's money that you don't repay. There are a couple of exceptions to that though, unless you leave school early or you don't meet eligibility requirements. If it's deemed afterwards that then you might need to repay the grant. Next, we'll touch on who is NSLSC. You may recall back when your loan was first approved, we asked you to register your account with your MFSAA registration number. That's the website where you created your account and set up your banking information. Hopefully you've done that already. If not, you'll probably be hearing from us because that means you won't get your money and we won't get our money either. So this site, their NSLSC, is the one who manages your loan once your funding is issued. They track your loan and your grant amounts. They help you manage repayment when school ends. And they're able to offer repayment support if you're struggling financially. Your student loan has 3 stages. There's the in-study period. During that period, no payments are required and your loan remains interest-free. There's the grace period. That's 6 months after school ends. You get a grace period before your payments will start. Finally, there's the repayment period. And that's when you begin making your payments to NSLSC, or National Student Loan Service Center. What happens if you leave early? So if your attendance drops below 60%, or you withdraw from your program, or we dismiss you from your program, there are some consequences to that. You may lose your grants. You may be required to repay your loan in full immediately, and it can affect your eligibility for future funding. So the bottom line, the most important message there is stay enrolled and stay funded. This is just a short little video that kind of goes through the student aid and your next steps. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me go on to just explain confirmation of enrollment. There may be multiple confirmations of enrollment depending on how many disbursements appear in your approval You'll see those on your notice of assessment or your funding summary. Our school policy is to confirm your enrollment. Your first disbursement is done after the confirmation of enrollment for your first disbursement is done after the 5th day of your first week. So that means we need to check and make sure you've been in attendance and that you're participating in your program. Once we see that, then we confirm your enrollment, and then that prompts them to release your first disbursement. If there's a second disbursement, this is done on the date indicated on your approval or your notice of assessment, after we check in that you're in good standing with attendance and assignments. Closer to graduation, we will check in with you to confirm your understanding of repayment process and the tools to use. Here is a short video on that. Okay, that basically brings us to the end of the webinar. So I'm just going to open it up now. If anybody has any questions, you can use the chat. I do ask that you keep the questions as general questions. If you happen to have individual circumstantial questions, feel free to send me an email after this webinar. The next slide will have my contact information as well as my colleagues in the finance department. So you can always reach out to us. But for now, I will open it up to any questions you might have. Comment. Okay, my apologies. I turned on my sound before we started and it's still on, so I'm not sure what happened. Okay, I have recorded this video. Um, so what I'll do is I'll send the links to the videos that were included in here to all of you so that you can refer back to them. And then again, if you have any questions related to your own personal circumstances when it comes to finance, please feel free to send me an email. Okay, thank you so much everyone for joining. And again, I apologize for the no sound on the videos. Have a wonderful weekend.